Folks, we've got a lot to get into today. So one of our main plays that we discuss here on the channel, Mara, is back on her uptrend cycle. In today's video, I'm going to discuss why Mara is such a steamroller right now, how to play her, and how far she is likely to go. And then we'll get into some of her competitors. CleanSpark, Riot, and Hut all have interesting trading right now. We're going to discuss what's going on with them, what you need to know, and whether there's an opportunity with those as well. Let's get to work, and the only thing I ask in return for all of the work that goes into making a video like this is that you hit that ravishing like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. And as always, make sure that you do your own due diligence on all stocks presented here on the channel. If you're the one taking the ultimate risk, you got to be the one doing the ultimate frisk. Okay, Mara, lovely Mara. So context here, we made the case in early December for Mara to skyrocket, and she more than doubled during that first momentum cycle. When she sold off, we then again made the case for a recovery and rebound and momentum buy. That has also aged very well. However, the reasoning was purely logical. It wasn't based on any kind of emotional prediction or anything like that. It was purely a logical reason. Mara is a Bitcoin miner with top tier Bitcoin mining power, massive infrastructure, and a long track record. Mara has a ton of Bitcoin on her balance sheet and will profit massively every single time Bitcoin goes up dramatically. And we know that Bitcoin tends to appreciate pretty rapidly heading into halving, and we know that halving, the next halving, is coming in April. Thus follows our prediction that any dip in Mara prior to April will get bought up and be a good rebound play, and so far that thesis has proven to be very, very true. But there's more than that going on here. You see, Mara is a very, very big short squeeze candidate as well. From Investor Place, quote, Mara has 22.36% short interest, far higher than most normal securities. This suggests that the stock's recent surge may be the result of an ongoing short squeeze. Now, here's the thing. When you have new momentum into a stock that was previously one of the most short attacked stocks in the market, well, all of a sudden, those short sellers have a massive, massive problem, and they need to close out of their position, but in order to do so, they have to buy back shares at 3 to 5x what they originally shorted at, which not only causes the price to skyrocket even more, but also leaves them with massive, massive losses. So the game plan that they'll usually have is, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to wait until that momentum cools off a little bit, corrects a little bit, and then we're going to dump a ton more shares onto the market, doing two things: bringing our average cost shorted up and also creating a artificial sell-off in the stock price that'll spook traders that are in the stock and have to risk manage, and will spook long-term shareholders who believe that the momentum will never come back. If you could take a heavy momentum stock and completely destroy the momentum, a lot of the long-term investors will be like, you know what, I'm just going to take my profits now instead of waiting, because now all my conviction is out the window since the stock has gone down. And then usually the short sellers will proceed to make sure that any sort of rally rebound in the stock price gets dumped on as well. And then over a few weeks and months, the stock ends up completely just fizzling out because every single rally was suppressed, meaning the short sellers get a massive, massive profit. However, of course, this doesn't always work. If the stock has fundamental reasons for it to be trading higher, well, it'll just get bought up and the short squeeze will become more and more juicy as more and more short sellers short it. And this, I believe, is the story that's happening right now with Mara. And we've now officially obliterated that historically significant $20 resistance level, and that is the new support. So anyways, how much farther is she going to climb? Well, Mara has followed a general pattern of momentum cycle to new high and then dump, and then momentum cycle to new high and then dump, and then momentum cycle to new high and then dump. And once again, we are seeing that play out. Previous cycle highs were at $12.71, $19.98, and then $31.30. Given the exponentially increasing new cycle highs, we'd expect the next cycle high from Mara to be around 40, if not at least 45. Now, at the same time, please, folks, open your eyes to the broader chart. Mara has huge, huge pump cycles followed by massive, massive take profit cycles. The way that I like to look at this is that Mara is a very, very dirty little tease. She gives, but she also takes. So for folks who want Mara's squeezing, you gotta be in place for Mara's teasing. There's a million other stocks out there that are a lot more consistent. I mean, the S&P 500 right now is just going straight up. With Mara, she goes like this. So if you're not willing to play accordingly, my suggestion is avoid her like the plague. Mara is only for folks who are looking for big gains and are willing to take the big risks associated with that and know how to employ risk management and know that once she hits the next off cycle, it can be a while before she recovers. So you have to be very, very careful. With high risk comes high reward, right? With high reward comes the potential for just as high risk, if not higher. My suggestion with Mara, well, if you are ready to play her, you have the cojones to play her, well, my suggestion option is to play offensive, but make sure you have a tight stop loss to protect any profits that you do earn. Now, there is one red flag to be aware of that I want to talk about a little bit. In January, Mara produced 1,084 BTC, which was 42% less than what they produced in December. Now, why did this happen? Well, they cited weather, temporary disruptions, site outages, some equipment failures. For me, when it rains a little bit, I also produce less. So I totally understand it. There's also a drop-off in transaction fees paid to miners and overall network awards, making December a pretty rough month for most in the industry anyways. But anyways, folks, we followed lovely Mara for years, and she has had many hiccups. But the overall trend has been strong, and she's one of the biggest players in the world. Sure, certainly keep your eyes open to see if these equipment failures and other issues become a trend, but the overall trend that we see right now suggests that Mara is getting better quarter over quarter, year over year. My forecast is that this is just a short-term blip, and markets kind of just brushed it off anyways. They've just acquired some new key data centers in Granbury, Texas, in Kearney, Nebraska, and they are going to assume full operational control of these units by April 30th, and that alone should increase their operational efficiency and give them more ability to reduce outages. Now, in terms of the mechanism of playing Mara's uptrend, well, we still like those April 19th expiring 35 strike calls. Now, what about some of Mara's competitors? Well, CleanSpark is going crazy right now. CLSK breaking its own cycle high today and climbing to $13.60. CleanSpark has been trending and getting a lot of attention because, quite frankly, they're investing oodles and poodles, actually, of money into Bitcoin mining facilities in hopes of being able to take advantage of that halving event and the increased demand and excitement during those times. They acquired Georgia's largest Bitcoin mining data center. They also just purchased some 160,000 mining machines. And all of this could cause CleanSpark's business to really skyrocket this year, especially as you get into Q2 and Q3. They're also really killer in cost management. As Investor Place points out, CleanSpark's focus on maintaining flat corporate overhead while substantially growing operations is a vital strength. This suggests significant financial effects equivalent to lowering all-in costs by almost a full 1 cent per kilowatt hour. Hence, this cost management positions CleanSpark to drive more value growth. So in other words, they don't have much in terms of corporate bloat, which I like to see. I hate it when you see small cap companies that are basically serving as just an enrichment instrument for their board. My opinion, though, I'd argue that waiting for the next big correction would be the move on this. There's no rush to buy something at new highs right now. We got another 2 months until halving, and many of these crypto stocks are going to go parabolic in several cycles and dumpy-dumpito between those parabolic cycles. Now, Riot is an interesting play right now because it is a solid chunk below its own cycle highs, and I do believe that it's being underappreciated right now. Watch as this climbs and destroys its previous cycle high at $18.80 and then $20.65 over the coming months. Now, like most miners right now, Riot has improved its operational efficiency by enhancing its mining operations, including significant investments in mining hardware and infrastructure. This approach not only increases its hash rate, but also optimizes energy usage, contributing to a more efficient and sustainable mining process. But really, a big reason that Riot should not be tossed aside is because of its Rockdale facility, which is likely the largest crypto mining facility in North America by developed capacity. When you have this much artillery, it's difficult to imagine you not winning quite a few battles, and that means lots of moolah for Riot. And interestingly enough, analyst price targets are averaging out at $18.13 to a high of $22.50, which represents upwards of 24% upside. And analyst price targets are almost always on the lower end, especially for crypto miners anyways. But what about HUT? What is my view on HUT? Well, this is another one that is well below cycle highs, but HUT 8 has been dealing with some big stinking issues and ones that I just quite frankly don't like and have a hard time stomaching. A short seller report came out accusing HUT of a pump and dump scheme, and the CEO exited some 3 weeks later, which of course looks suspicious to say the least, even though the company says it's just a coincidence in timing. The short seller allegations against HUT 8 are as follows. This had to do with their acquisition of USBTC. It was claimed that one of US Bitcoin Corp's USBC's largest shareholders is an undisclosed related party, raising concerns about transparency and potential conflicts of interest. Overstated assets. The report alleges that the profitability of certain USBTC assets were overstated, suggesting that investors may have been misled about the company's financial health and prospects. Failed core asset. USBTC's core asset, which was supposed to provide energy and high-speed internet, reportedly failed to deliver on these promises, questioning the viability and value of the merger with HUT 8. History of legal trouble. USBTC is backed by promoters with a history of legal trouble, and and its co-founder has a past littered with involvement in SEC-defined pump and dumps, according to the report. This casts doubts on the integrity and operational standards of the company's new partner. As a result of these allegations, Hut 8 is now involved in several potentially devastating lawsuits. So look, I'm not an insider within Hut. I can't tell you if these allegations are hogwash or not. And quite frankly, if we look at their publicly disclosed numbers, it looks like they're undervalued. However, whether true or not, I just don't think it's worth the risk at this point, especially if the allegations do end up being true. Even just the negative PR of this could suppress Hut's price for quite a long time. So that is something to think about. And these short sellers, they don't mess around. They know what they're doing with these PR campaigns. Even if everything ends up being BS, they know that for weeks and weeks and quarters, you're going to see more and more press releases that are negative, more and more press releases about all these lawsuits and potentially devastating results. That is not something that investors want to see, and that's not something that I want to mess with. Anyways, that caps off today's video. Make sure to hit that ravishing like button and subscribe. What are your favorite crypto miners? Let us know in the comment section down below. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.